Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing with halachot of Netilat Yadayim in the morning, and I wanted to mention two different halachot. First of all, it's actually brought down in the poskim that what is a proof that you will go to the washroom, if you need to go to the washroom, obviously, before doing Netilat Yadayim, the order in the Shulchan Aruch. If you pay attention in Shulchan Aruch, Hanagat Bet HaKiseh is Siman Gimel in Shulchan Aruch. And the one of the Netilat Yadayim is Siman Daled in the Shulchan Aruch. So the fact that the Shulchan Aruch placed it in that order, so therefore you already see that first it's the washroom and then it's going to be Netilat Yadayim. Now somebody asked me, okay fine, but if you go to the washroom, how could it be that you're not going to touch the parts which are covered in the body? So we know that there's no problem of touching parts which are covered in your body, it's the problem of touching parts which are open. So here, Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, on this question, he comes and he says that somebody that needs to go to the washroom, for sure, he goes to the washroom and then afterwards he does Netilat Yadayim. But he makes a differentiation whether you really need to go to the washroom or not. He says if you really need to go to the washroom, so therefore you're going to go to the washroom in order not to be over on Bal Teshaketzu. But if not, then you wash your hands and then you do Netilat Yadayim. Now when he says that you're going to the washroom, he says be careful not to touch any parts which are going to be covered. He comes and he says like this, listen carefully. He says, Lechatchila, a person should be careful not to touch even the piyatabat, which is basically the back part, the anus. He says, why? Kodom netila. Now he says, even though Shulchan Aruch is mashma that there's no isur. Why? He says, there in Siman Dalet Siv Gimel, Shulchan Aruch brings down all the parts of the body which you're not allowed to touch before Netilat Yadayim. And there he does not bring down the piyatabat. Only in Sif Dalid does Maran say that a person shouldn't touch his back part. Why? Because it brings to hemorrhoids. It brings to tachtoniot. So he says, and that's also what the Bet Yosef brings down from Rashi. If you remember, we learned in Hilchot Nida, and this is brought down on a Gemara Masechet Nida, Yad Lama Tikatetz. Right there we said that Kol Amarbeh, right, Livdok Banashim Meshubachat. The more that women check themselves, the better that it is. Obviously, we said that was once upon a time. Nowadays, that was the Rav Moshe Feinstein. It's all different. But the more that a woman would always check herself, it was actually praiseworthy. But to do with a man, the more that a man will come and check himself, his hand should be cut off. So he says, Lavli niyan netilat yadayim. Nothing to do with netilat yadayim. So again, he says that according to Shitat Maran, there is no problem whatsoever of touching the back part before netilat yadayim. It is the Shita of the Gaon. The Gaon Mivilna says that a person should be careful right before Netilat Yadayim touching his back part. Therefore, you should try to be machmir like the Gaon. But technically speaking, Mi'ikar Adin, Shitat Maran, is that even if a person would come and wipe himself through the back, or even if he would touch himself, right, again, when he's wiping, whatever, it's not the end of the world, because again, as we already mentioned. Now, to do with the concept that we spoke about also last time, which was, are you allowed to get dressed before doing Netilat Yadayim? And we spoke about the entire concept of the Ben Ish Chai, that he, at the beginning, he wanted to say that you should be careful, which is Al Data Mekubalim. Then afterwards he says, Ha'olam lo noagim lizar bezeh, and he brought down a reason to do with the concept that, at the end of the day, there's no Tumah which is going to be Shoreh on Kelim, right, or Begadim. It's only going to be, that means the Tumah will not come on the clothing or utensils. The Tumah will only come whether it's going to be on the human being or on foods and drinks, like solids and liquids. Now, if you remember, we said that the Gemara is not mashma like the Mekubalim. Where exactly does that come from in the Gemara? So if you guys pay attention, in Siman Mem Vav, that's the halachot of the Birachot, of Birkat HAshaHar. And now listen to Shulchan Aruch. He comes and he says, when a person wakes up, you say Lokai Shama. When you're going to listen to the Kol Tel Negol, right, the rooster, right, you're going to come and make when you come and you make and you start getting dressed, Malbish Aromim. When you put your hands on your eyes, you say over your eyes, you say Pukeach Ivrim. When you come and you sit, you're going to say Matid Asurim. When you start getting up, you're going to start saying Zokef Kufim. When you put your legs on the floor, you're going to say Rokaret Salamayim. When you put on your shoes, Shasali Kotsuki. When you come and you start walking, you say Amlichim Tzedekaver. Keshoger Chaguro. When you come and you put on your belt, you're going to say Osir Yisrael Bigvura. Then he says, Keshemesim kova u'mitznefet, when you come and you put on the hat or the kippah on the head, you're going to say, Tefillah, Keshiyitol yadav yivarech al netilat yadayim. When you do netilat yadayim, then you come and you say al netilat yadayim. Keshiyirchatz panav, when you come and you wash your face, you say Amavir Shena Me'enaycha Me'eduma Me'afapai, and then you continue with the Baruch Atah Hashem. So you see from here that even in the order of the Birkat HaShachar, Netilat Yadayim is after putting on your clothing. And this is the Gemara Mefureshet, Shulchan Aruch Mefurash. So therefore, obviously, it's mashma that first you're putting on your clothing, you're getting dressed, and only afterwards you're doing Netilat Yadayim. Okay, so that's going to be another halacha. The last halacha I wanted to mention is Shulchan Aruch Mefurash. Shulchan Aruch Besiman Vav Sif Bet says, Yesh noagim lamtin levarech al netilat yadayim ad boam lebet hakneset. Some people have a minhag that they will wait to say netilat yadayim until they come to the synagogue, until they come to the bet hakneset, umisadrim oto im shar brachot, and then they do it with all the other brachot. Says Maran, ubnei Sfarad lo nahagu ken. The Sfaradim do not have this minhag. Meaning this minhag of waiting to do netilat yadayim when you're already in the bet hakneset, that's not the minhag of the Sfaradim. Says the Mishnah Brura, the Askamah of the Acharonim is to do like Anshe Sfarad, to do like the Sfaradim. Shelo le'afsik lechatechila, not to make afsek lechatechila between Birkat al netilat yadayim and the netilah, but immediately you do netilat yadayim and you make the bracha al netilat yadayim. Then he brings down again what he mentioned before. But if the time of netilat yadayim you have to go to the washroom, so therefore it's going to be a filu b'divrei Torah asur. And even if you could wait, you shouldn't do netilat yadayim until you do your necessities, and you should make al netilat yadayim v'asher yatzar together. And then he brings down in Siman Tzadik Bet, he says, look in Siman Tzadik Bet Sif Aleph, in the Mishnah Brura, and look in what I wrote down in the name of the Chayei Adam, that lechatechila, a person should wait for netilat yadayim until after he's 100% clean to go to start praying. But then he's going to be Yitzadeh Chovah lechuli alma. And then he says, and look at the Biur Al-Chad that we wrote down, that there you're going to do al netilat yadayim v'asher yatzar with other b'shar Birkat HaShachar. Right? And therefore that's why he says you're going to be Yitzadeh Chovah like everybody. But if you do like the Sharet Shuvah, you have what to rely on. Which means that even though the Mishnah Brura is being posek like the Chayei Adam lechatechila, which means that first you're going to do the netilat yadayim with the Asher Yatzar and all the Birkat HaShachar together, and you're not separating it, he still comes and he says, at the end of the day, you have what to rely on if you're doing like the Sharet Teshuvah. And that's what we already brought down, as we said before, that obviously there's a lot of machlokot to do with when exactly to do it. There was some that they said, you know what, do it closest to the tefillah. Because if you're going to have to do another netilat yadayim right before the tefillah, there is an opinion, right, of the Rambam that you're doing netilat yadayim for the tefillah, not because that you just woke up and it's a new creation and everything else. So because of that, so therefore you would do it right beside the tefillah. Our minhag is not like that, but if a person does do that, they do have what to rely on, because again, any type of a shita that they have to do with netilat yadayim, there is one opinion, right, of how to go like. But again, as we already mentioned, the last shiur of exactly how we're supposed to be doing the netilat yadayim and the beracha of al netilat yadayim.